How does an internet joke about literal insects mutate into a clenched fist capable of backing a national government into a corner? To understand that, you have to look at India in 2026. Millions of young people were already facing systemic unemployment and intense economic anxiety. Then came the NEET medical exam leak, a scandal that threw the futures of nearly 22 million students into total chaos. Tensions were already boiling. Then, in May, the Chief Justice of India expressed his frustration with online activists criticizing the system. From the bench of the highest court, he compared unemployed, dissenting youth to parasites and cockroaches. That kind of rhetoric from a top official usually crushes morale. But a political strategist named Abhijit Dipke saw an opening. Instead of backing down, he claimed the insult. Using AI tools, Dipke designed a full brand identity almost instantly. He launched the Cockroach Janta Party, complete with official maroon branding and a satirical manifesto that demanded, among other things, mandatory unemployment. The establishment handed a disenfranchised generation the perfect mascot. By leaning into the absurdity of the insult, they turned their collective despair into a unified, ironic voice. The digital response was instantaneous. Tapping into deep youth anger, the CJP's online following skyrocketed, surging past the official Instagram follower count of India's ruling party in a matter of days. Soon, the movement bled into mainstream culture. Celebrities, filmmakers, and prominent opposition politicians threw their support behind the satire, adopting the hashtag #MainBeCockroach. The government responded with swift, heavy-handed action. Citing threats to national security, the Ministry of Electronics invoked emergency laws to completely block the CJP's X account. Officials tried to discredit the movement, claiming half its followers were Pakistani bots. In response, the CJP released analytics showing a 94% authentic Indian audience. Yet, operatives weaponized these claims, filing litigations to demand federal investigations by the CBI and NIA. State agencies were actively trying to suppress a literal internet joke. By reacting with sheer panic, they validated Gen Z's tactics and effectively elevated a satirical account to the status of a peer political rival. The CJP refused to stay confined to the internet. They leveraged the attention from the government's pushback and stepped offline, organizing community cleanup drives with volunteers dressed in giant cockroach suits. Those community drives evolved into organized protests at Jantar Mantar. The digital irony gave way to specific demands over the NEET exam scandal. The protesters laid out a clear ultimatum: the immediate resignation of the Union Education Minister, holding him directly responsible for handling the paper leaks. By occupying physical space and sustaining real-world demonstrations, the CJP proved their mobilization was real. The state could no longer ignore the movement as just another hashtag. The stakes rose when prominent public figures joined the fray. Renowned activist Sonam Wangchuk arrived at the protest site, declared himself an honorary cockroach, and initiated an indefinite hunger strike. As demonstrators attempted to march on Parliament, the state initiated a crackdown. Police fired tear gas, deployed batons, and detained over 70 people, including the CJP's founder. The pressure was too immense to ignore. Prime Minister Modi publicly announced strict new anti-paper leak legislation and fast-track courts to handle the cases. Then came the final result. The state formally agreed to meet with the CJP delegation, inviting them to sit across from union ministers at a neutral venue to negotiate terms. A movement built on a satirical meme successfully pushed the government to the negotiating table. The Cockroach Janta Party demonstrated that for this generation, irony can be used to secure a seat in the room where decisions are made.